days since we lost our daughter, we question how we got here. We attempt to understand our new reality as we search to find what happened in the past. It's been over 2 years, and we have many of the same feelings and questions without the answers that we seek. How could our Supergirl be gone so soon? My name is Brian Wharry, and on June 2nd of 2015, my daughter, Arya Isabella Wharry, came into this world. A short 18 months later, she was gone. We were as excited as any parents to welcome our second baby girl, Arya. From the morning that she was conceived, later that afternoon, they had noticed that she had a slight heart murmur that they thought wants to be benign. That afternoon, the cardiologist came in and told us some of the worst news we could anticipate. Within the hour, our world had changed. We soon found out that Arya was born with a complex congenital heart defect that would require immediate transfer to the NICU and into Akron Children's PICU, where she would spend the next 2 months of her life. Ultimately, she would require a 3-phase open heart surgical procedure, the first being at 6 days old, the second being at 5 months old, and the third anticipated between 4 and 5 years old. At 6 days old, our little baby girl had went for her first open heart surgery. Although there were many nights that we were unsure we would bring her home, many unknowns, fear we would lose her, exactly 2 months from being admitted, we were able to bring her home. She was still on feeds, many medications, and strict precautions, and we were told, do not let her get sick to get her to her second surgery. As parents, we were scared. Before we knew it, it was 5 months later, and we were getting ready for her next open heart surgery, the Glen. Of the surgeries, we were told this one is going to be the most difficult, but if she survives, that this will let her do much better. 10 hours, the surgery was. The first night was touch and go, with a doctor and 2 nurses who spent the entire night in her room. We battled more pumps, more drips, more medications than I've ever seen, especially on such a small little baby. We battled swelling, low oxygen levels, instability in her condition. The first morning after her surgery, the doctor had come in and said, all is up to her. It is in her hands now. To hear that about your small baby, there's no words. Day after day, we would go to the Ronald McDonald House just to make it back in the morning for their 6 a.m. morning rounds to try to understand what was going on with their daughter. I remember the days of driving home in a car because we had our daughter Mila and not knowing when I came back if Arya would be there. My wife had called many times expressing that things weren't looking good. After the first week, they decided to put her on a trial medication. She battled very, very low oxygen levels in the 40% range. After they put her on this medication, she made a turn for the better. Suddenly, things looked like we were going to get to go home. Exactly 2 weeks after they started or did the surgical procedure, we were able to bring her home. A few short months after her surgery is where Arya persevered. The equipment came off, the meds came off, and she became what was known as our Supergirl. The following months we lived, Arya lived. The only sign of the past were the scars on her chest, the battle wounds of the open heart surgeries. Our cardiologist was shocked as she defied statistics for the heart warriors. She graduated from physical therapy, occupational therapy, and was working with speech therapy. She developed into this little playful, mischievous personality full of nighttime shenanigans. She loved her mommy. She loved her sister even though she knew how to press her buttons. We brought Arya on day trips, night trips, vacations, and soon we're doing what we are doing now with her right here next to us. As she developed, you could not tell the difference between Arya and the child next to her. Arya loved to do her animal impressions, especially the elephant, and get down to some Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. She had eyebrow tricks, binky tricks, and was full of little talents that we'll never forget. Arya provided us with laughter, stories, fun, and very special moments. December 6th of 2016, Arya had not been feeling well. Everything was looking good prior to that. She did develop a slight cold in the weeks prior. We brought her to the doctors, brought her to the ER just because we were extra cautious with our daughter. The events that day we'll never fully grasp, we'll never understand. Unfortunately, Arya had made a sudden change in condition and it turned for the worse. We tried to save her. Akron Children's tried to save her. The Cleveland Clinic tried to save her, but her heart just wasn't strong enough. That day often feels as if it was yesterday. At times, we were so optimistic she'd be coming home with us. As we were on a ride here to the Cleveland Clinic, we were talking about how long we were going to be here, where we were going to stay, and ultimately when we'd bring her home. Unfortunately, we said goodbye that night, and she didn't get to come home with us. After losing Aria, we immediately thought to ourselves, after everything, this is how it ended? Are we really here? After all the surgeries, the battles, all she'd overcome, this is really it? Soon, family, friends, and our community flooded us with phone calls and utter disbelief as to what happened. In the hours after we lost her, we made the hardest decisions we've ever made. Most difficult phone calls you ever have to. Had loneliest car ride home you could ever expect. The next days, as many of us have went through, you expect to do things that you never had to. Plan for a funeral, prepare calling hours, clothes, make picture boards, videos, music. No things any parents should ever have to go through. Every moment along the way asking what went wrong. On December 6th, not only was a daughter lost, but a sister, a niece, a granddaughter, a goddaughter, a friend, a heart warrior, and a supergirl. Everybody lost that day. On the cold December 12th, we buried our supergirl. Although mourning, devastated, my wife and I still managed to have those tough conversations. How do we move forward? We still had a 3-year-old at home. What do we do? We said we have to move forward for each other, for her. You don't move on, you move forward. We're here today with similar stories, our own outcomes, and own ways of trying to understand what went wrong, but also trying to figure out the equation as to how our lives move on. There is no perfect equation. There's days we wake up and we feel wonderful, and there's days you just don't want to get out of bed. How do you cope with a loss you fully don't understand? We went through the stages of grief, denial, trying to understand how things went wrong so fast. How could this be our new reality? After Aria passed, life very much separated into life with Aria and life without Aria. Anger. Did we not prepare? Did we not understand this was a possibility? Why? So many questions. What if we brought her to the doctors a day earlier? What if we demanded an echocardiogram? What if we should have noticed her signs and symptoms? You play the blame game. There's certain things we'll never understand, and there's certain things you just have to get through. Bargaining. Take us. Take anyone. Not Aria. Aria earned her time here. We were given it. Depression. There is no timeline. There's some days, as I said, that are much different than others. Don't let anybody sit here and tell you how you have to specifically feel on a certain day. As you know, we all have those visual cues and musical cues that bring our daughters right back here with us, and that could be anywhere at any time. And acceptance. Do you ever truly accept it? We battle. We battle to move forward. We are all in a similar battle here today. As parents, myself and my wife, we struggle, some days better than others. People only see us happy-go-lucky, Brad and Adrian. But they don't feel the lump in your throats when you hear the songs, or the heaviness behind your eyes when they see other kids their age playing outside. Those are supposed to be her friends, her playmates, her classmates. They don't feel the pain of the loss, nor should they. The hardest part is facing loss, is seeing everyone else move along when you feel like your life is almost just stood still. Time hasn't moved. Of course, we sit back, we look at the videos, the pictures, and try to build on the memories. As I said, we don't have this solved yet. No perfect equation to battling the loss of a loved one. What we do is we talk about our Supergirl every day. We have an amazing support system between our family, our friends, and our community. We drive awareness for congenital heart defects. We participate in different events, activities, heart walks, just to keep her memory alive. We are the storytellers of Aria. We fight for us. We fight for her, and we fight for other families facing loss. We move forward. We are still the parents of 2 beautiful daughters, one here with us today and one in heaven. Leaving you today, I just want to remind you to grieve how you want to grieve. Don't let somebody give you that specific timeline. Fight for something, whether that's you, them, or your other children. Understand that certain things you just will never understand. Continue to speak of them, of their memories. It's what keeps them alive. And most importantly, regain the sense of purpose and move forward for you and for them. Your loved one will always be part of your story. So tell it. Thank you.